We better. Super grateful to be here. Super honored to be here in your guys' presence. Being able to teach the information that we're going to cover on today's call. Super grateful just coming back into the States, arriving from Vietnam, and it was a blessing to be out there. All of the things that I received while being there, I'm super grateful. And so it's only propelled and made the vision, it's only propelled me to getting closer towards the goals, and it's made the vision that much more clear. So I'm super grateful for it, the journey, the quest, and I'm super excited to cover what we're going to cover on today's call. And it just gave me more affirmations, as to exactly what we're building with this multifamily fund, with this multifamily just enterprise as a whole that we're doing is something special. So I'm super excited and super grateful to share the information, the education that I was working on all while being in Vietnam. Got connected with some high net worth individuals that are in the commercial space out there. They build a lot of hotels, a lot of apartments as well too, and just seeing a lot of their development and their innovations overseas makes you think a lot bigger, just think differently as well too. So I'm super grateful for such. So today specifically, I'm going to cover why multifamily is the best investment, I believe, when it comes to real estate. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So multifamily, a lot of people think it's about being a landlord. It's about owning assets that pay you while you live when you guys are investing into multifamily. And I want you guys to understand that, there's not gonna be you being that landlord. And that's where a lot of people, I feel, go wrong when getting into real estate, is they start too small, right? They start off way too small rather than starting off big, scaling it, and being able to hire a proper manager. I can't even speak today. I've been on the phone all day, but they can't even hire a property management team because they only have 5, 10, 15 properties. But now if we have 50 to 100, it's cash flowing in enough cash flow to be able to hire that property management team. So why multifamily over other investments? The first thing that sticks out and that I always educate people on is that it's real cash flow. Multiple tenants equals multiple income streams. That's the thing with it. It's not just the rent that you guys are getting every single month, but there's tons of other income streams monthly that come with multifamily. And the thing about multifamily is people are paying rent every single month. So that means every single month you are getting paid. The next thing is that it's recession resilient. People are always going to need a place to live. So when it comes to multifamily, the business that you have is always going to be needed. When it comes to business as a whole, and why I got into the credit space in the first place was because I thought of a business that everybody needed. And I'm like, everybody needs credit. Everybody needs to learn consumer law, so therefore they can be able to discharge this debt off their consumer reports. And I know that everybody either has some debt on their report or knows somebody with debt on their report. So if I come up with this credit company and I can educate people off of mentorships, I can franchise companies out, I can create a whole university around it. Things that I've done, things that we have in place right now, where it's created me a full-time income where I can be able to travel the world and do these things off of information that I came across and educated myself on, because I thought to myself, what is something that everybody needs? So in this space of multifamily, what does everybody need? Everybody needs housing. It doesn't matter if we're in a recession. It doesn't matter if we're in a lockdown. It doesn't matter where we're at economically. Everybody's going to need a place to live. So if I can get a place to live and own that asset, and it's in a place where there's tons of jobs, which people are bringing in income, maybe there's a lot of factories, maybe there's a lot of manufacturers in those areas. Right, where are these tech companies going to? There's a lot in Austin, a lot in Phoenix. right? There's a lot in Florida, all throughout Texas. Texas is great for real estate. The next thing is tax write-offs. This is honestly another big reason as to why I did get into real estate, is because my brother, my best friend, plays in the professional football league. And with that being said, they're getting taxed on millions of dollars. And a lot of them don't know where to put their money, and they're not putting it in smart places where they can get tax write-offs. There's tons of tax loopholes specifically for athletes when it comes to them investing into multifamily real estate. All day today, I was putting together different documents and breakdowns of how being an NFL athlete, NBA athlete, any type of professional athlete, the tax advantages and loopholes that you'll receive while investing into multifamily. Next is forced appreciation, right? You can increase your income and increase the value. So over time, the value, as you increase and add into the property, what I like to do is buy B-class and C-class assets. These B and these C-class assets can take some value add, so you can do some renovations. It's very similar on the residential side to fix and flip, but it's doing it on a larger scale. Not only can I do that, now I can increase rent $50 to $100. You times that by 200. Say we got 200 units. That's a multiplier within itself. Now we can add on amenities within the apartment. We can add on, the different things with upgrading the parking lot. There's so many different amenities that you guys can add on: tech, the digital key, the digital fob, so on and so forth. That's income outside of what you're making already from the units themselves. But of course, you always got to keep in mind when doing the underwriting. And with my underwriter, she underwrites very strict, right? She's very hard with her underwriting. So not all the occupancy rate is going to be 100% all the time. The occupancy rate is going to be anywhere from 80 to 90, percent full. It's never going to really be 100% full, especially as you start getting more. But what I love most, honestly, when it comes to the multifamily is the tax benefits, and then the forced depreciation, and then also better financing, way better financing. Banks love to lend on income producing assets. And that's the thing. I know I've been teaching and educating so many people on getting their personal credit right. Well, when it comes to multifamily and commercial real estate, you don't even need your personal credit at all. But why I do teach it and the importance of it is you guys can come in, you guys can learn how to leverage your personal credit to liquidate that credit and turn it into cash, and therefore utilize that cash to invest into these assets. But the thing for the down payment, outside of that, you guys can raise money and raise capital with investors. I guarantee you that you guys know people, or somebody that you guys know has access to millions of dollars that will fund the businesses, that will fund the things that you guys are looking to do, but you guys don't even have SEC attorneys. You guys don't have a business plan in place. You guys don't have the information, the guidance, the direction to be able to do these things. But that's why I'm going to be bringing forth these teachings in the multifamily space, because you guys with $0 can get started into multifamily with the right people, with the right knowledge, and that's really what it's about. And I'm gonna show you guys, the biggest thing is raising capital. All of us have done fundraisers and raised money for funds, but the fund hasn't been anything that can bring you really in cash flow. Whereas multifamily, it can do that, and with our fund, that's exactly what we're doing. Right now, we're only working with accredited investors, so that's if you're making $250,000 or more. But the biggest thing is better financing as well too. And once again, to touch on that point, it's not about your personal credit when it comes to commercial real estate. They're looking at the business plan, and if the business plan makes sense and if it's going to bring in cash flow, then, and if it's going to pay off the loan, they're going to give you that loan. Right? Banks are looking to lend out money. Banks want to lend out money. The next thing is value is based on income and not just comps or market swings. So like I said, as long as there's jobs in the area, right, people are going to be getting paid out. As people are going to be getting paid, people are going to need a place to live, and apartments are going to something that everybody is always going to be, in need of. We can't build more land, but what we can do on the land that we have is build upwards. So, expect to see a lot more apartments. I know out in a lot of the cities that I go to and I travel, especially the bigger cities, they're building up, right? Forget cities, a lot of the countries that I go to where they're very compact and they've got a lot more people in their big cities than in our big cities. I've even been to Sao Paulo in Brazil. I was just there in September.